Hey, my name is Jonas,
Hi, I'm Jenny.
And I'm George.
and this is our presentation called China's Endgame.
Okay, so water pollution. China is home to 20% of the world's population. However, they only have 7% of fresh water, which is terrible. Approximately two-thirds of China's roughly 660 cities, they all suffer from water shortages. Former Chinese Premier Wen Jiabo, hopefully I'm saying that correctly, has said that the water shortages challenge the very survival of the Chinese nation. In 2014, groundwater supplies in more than 60% of the major cities were categorized as very, very bad, and more than 1/4 was unfit for human contact. Now, the solution can be making sure industrial waste is properly disposed of. Major companies over there, they choose to dispose in water, which affects the pollution a lot. Lowering or completely eliminating the use of fertilizers, pesticides, and livestock waste, it seeps into the water when it rains, so that also makes it unfit. And then also, what could be a solution would be investing in the solar-powered water wheel. We have seen some, and they have worked perfectly, so I'm pretty sure China could use that. Okay, so another problem is air pollution. The largest coal producer is in China right now, and it accounts for about half of the consumption globally. Much of the reason for the degraded air quality in China can be attributed to the coal industry. So reports from late 2015 imply that up to 17% of more coal is used than years prior. Now, China is the world's largest emitter of greenhouse gases, having overtaken the United States, and is responsible for 27% of global emissions according to a 2014 study. Now, in 2017, it is thought that over 1 million people died from air pollution. Now, the solution could be reducing the production of steel and coal-fired electricity, but it has been hard to give up, for the residents to give up the coal stoves and furnaces, but the government is asking them to do so, and for them to have a higher quality of gasoline or diesel vehicles, or like electricity cars and solar powered things.
Are exactly what they sound like. There are small communities in which cancer is abnormally high in the population. In China alone, there is an estimated of over 450 cancer villages, with cancer mortalities having risen 80% over the past 30 years. Pollution-related cancers are harder to detect during their earlier years, and this makes it more likely for cancer villages to emerge even more. One of the reasons the government actually neglects this problem is because there's so many diseases that are related to these cancer villages that they can't find something to directly correlate the pollution with the cancers going on. Some of the solutions that we can use to work on these cancer villages and reduce the amount and maybe someday get rid of them is by firstly installing biowater treatment systems. These have already been shown to reduce the amount of pollution in the water and help bring drinking water to the people in these villages. Another small, very effective solution is for the Chinese government to just give public official awareness to the people of China with statistics of the pollution being produced by these factories around these cancer villages. Because when the people have awareness and they have official statistics, they will be able to put more pressure on these factories to clean up their pollution and reduce it more and more and more. And hopefully we can find also new ways to keep production up while producing less of the pollution. Overpopulation occurs when an organism's number exceeds the carrying capacity of its habitat. China has a population of about 1.2 billion people, and that's about 20% of the population of the world. With China's growing population, in the years to come, they will have to face more social and economic problems. Overly populated regions will find degradation in their land and in their resources, along with pollution increasing over time. And this will lead to more detrimental living conditions for the Chinese people. Human overpopulation has been a problem acknowledged by the Chinese government for many years now. One of the solutions that they came up with was the infamous one-child policy, where families could only have one child. This has been proven to be able to keep the population in check, but at the same time, the Chinese people were very unhappy with the policy and did not want to keep it. Another solution that, in my opinion, I think is way better, is to be able to incentivize the people to keep their growth rates down while being able to raise the standards of living. These include things such as being able to spread more natural resources to the people. At the moment, the Chinese government has seen some effect with this policy, but we'll have to wait and see to see if this is a real solution to the problem. The Chinese government has been in the works for many problems already, working in conjunction with many other agencies in order to keep making and updating policies that will better appease the Chinese population and keep them happy.
Desertification in China, nearly 20% of the land is desert. As a result of a combination of poor farming practices, drought, and increased demand for groundwater, desertification has become arguably China's most important problem. Climate change occurred from 46.6 to 20.6% of effects on NDVI and desertification responsibilities. 1/3 of the country's land areas is eroded and has led more than 400 million people to struggle to cope with lack. 1/3 of China's land area is eroded and has led 400 million people to struggle and to cope with. Biodiversity in China, it is one of the world's most diverse countries with respect to biodiversity, and an increasing of species threatens humans' ability to use the species for tasks. It is also estimated that approximately 90% of China's grasslands are experiencing some sort of degradations, and about 40% of China's major wetlands are experiencing serious degradations. In terms of economics, it is also estimated that species extinct and threats to the ecosystems could cost them $33 trillion. Biodiversity solutions. Reduce or eliminate pesticides and fertilizer. Consider getting rid of your lawn, especially if you live in an arid region. Instead, plant native plants that are well adapted to your area. Reduce your consumptions. This is arguably the action that will have the biggest positive impact on the environment. Reuse and recycle. Composting is key. It reduces the amount of wasting going into the landfills and the space needed to hold the waste.
Thank you for your time.